What's up, fellas? Welcome to a brand new episode of The Sports Student. My name is Wendell Epps, aka The Sports Student. In today's podcast, I'll be interviewing Ciara Speller. Ciara currently works as an evening anchor at WWLP-22 News in Massachusetts. In this podcast, Ciara will talk about her experiences working as an evening anchor and also provide some very valuable advice to those hoping to enter the news media industry. So sit back, relax, enjoy the podcast, and without further ado, this is a sports student interview with Ciara Speller. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Sports Student. My name is Wendell Epps. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Ciara Speller. Ciara, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. How are you doing, and how's your summer been going?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. My summer has been flying by, but I can't complain. You know, right now we're in the middle of the Olympics. We're an NBC station, so pretty busy with all the excitement and covering the athletes that are from Massachusetts, where I'm located. So it's been exciting.
That's awesome to hear. Definitely a fun time of the year with the Olympics going on and everything. So real quickly, can you just give the audience a little background about yourself, where you got started and where you are now in the news media industry?
Sure. So I began my journey in journalism, I would say in elementary school, honestly. It's something I always knew I wanted to do. I wanted to be a storyteller. I wanted to be a voice for those who, can't be a voice for themselves. So got involved at a young age, became involved in clubs, became the head of clubs in college, moving to grad school to pursue my master's at Emerson College in Boston. Went to the Oscars, went to the inauguration, went to the Murrow. So really got a lot of experience before I went on to my first job, where I currently am right now, 22 News in Springfield, Massachusetts. We are an NBC affiliate. I've been there for about 4 years now, and I've just been enjoying it, the whole time. It's, like I said, something I knew I always wanted to do. So to see it come together and to be living it every day is honestly, it's a blessing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have to ask you, because there's a lot of people out there who really don't figure out what they want to do until they're like in their 20s. So it's like, how cool was that for you to be able to know from like a young age, like, this is what I want to do?
You always have second thoughts, wondering, did I take the right choice or take the right path? Did I make the right choice? I also have a degree in dance as well. So that was something that I was like, I could always fall back on that. But I was pretty secure with my decision, and, my love kind of trumps everything else. So, there's high days, there's low days, there's crazy days, but it's really worth it. And, like I said, I really do enjoy it.
That's fantastic. It definitely is a great industry as a whole. So like, what's like a normal day routine for you, if there is one?
Yeah, a normal day. So my day starts, I would say I get to the office at 2:30, but my day kind of starts as soon as I open my eyes. I'm checking my phone, I'm looking at emails, I'm seeing headlines, I'm seeing if there's any breaking news, major stories or developments that we're going to be following throughout the day. So I get to the office at 2:30. From there, I attend a meeting. We discuss what we're going to tackle during our night shift, where we're going to be deploying our teams and kind of setting the skeleton for the night to move on. From there, I do promo shoots, I do live cut-ins. We talk about, now that the Olympics is happening, we give kind of updates on that. I'm hosting a show called Olympic Zone that airs at 7:30, and that's just kind of the ins and outs and highlights of everything that's happening. I have my newscast. I solo anchor the 5 p.m. newscast, and then I co-anchor the 5:30 and 6, and then I solo the 10 p.m. newscast, and I co-anchor the 11 as well. So that's kind of, just what happens every day for me. Various meetings, various phone calls, calling police departments to see, what's going on in the community, following developments through emails, through social media. You get a lot of leads and tips from the community that way. So that's kind of, the everyday hustle and bustle.
Yeah, it sounds like a busy day, but I'm sure it's a fun day at the same time. So like you mentioned doing solo anchoring and then co-anchoring. What would you say is like the biggest difference between the two? And are there any similarities as well?
Solo anchoring, it's entirely on you, so you have to engage the audience. You're reading all of your stories, you're fact checking every story that you're reading, which also you do for co-anchoring as well, but you have two sets of eyes. So I would say that's the benefit in that scenario. Whereas when you're by yourself, it's a lot on you. Um, but you kind of get into your own rhythm, and I've found my way to do it. And yeah, it's just a different style. I love to co-anchor because you have, your team, whether it be, the meteorologist is involved as well, so that could be three people. We kind of have a two-person slot, and then, of course, the meteorologist does their own thing. But I like to play off of my co-anchor's energy. It's more conversational, you're talking to your audience. So that's just what I enjoy more.
Yeah, definitely. And how would you like describe your presence in front of the camera?
My presence in front of the camera, I just try to be myself. I
That's
really
awesome.
just try to be the person that I am out in the community, whether it's volunteering or I'm part of a nonprofit organization as well. I sit on a board for a nonprofit in the Springfield area, and how people meet me at events and meet me at the grocery store, meet me at the gym. That's just how I try to portray myself on TV as well, because I do want people to feel like, I am in their home and I am their friend, and we're just having a conversation about, the top stories going on in their community.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, I think it's really important to be yourself in front of the camera because I feel like it definitely can be obvious if someone is like faking it a little bit. So being yourself
Yeah.
is definitely very critical. I'm curious, do you remember like your first ever newscast that you did in front of the camera?
So I started at 22 News as a reporter first, and then I was promoted quickly, in my time there as an anchor. So I remember, yeah, my first time reporting live in front of the camera at 22 News. I remember that, and I do remember my first time anchoring. Yeah, it was trying to keep the nerves down, trying to just remember, smile. What did my mom tell me? So it's a lot to remember. But it was a great experience, and once you get that done, it's just kind of, you keep growing from there on out.
Yeah, definitely. There's only room to grow the more reps you get. So, what advice would you give to maybe someone that's in college right now that's trying to get in that news route? What are some things that they can do that can help them in the long run?
I would definitely say use all the resources that are available to you. I had a completely overloaded schedule in grad school. There was so many days that I wanted to just stop for a moment and take a breath because I'm constantly just running around. But I'm so grateful that I did take up all those opportunities, because they allowed me to connect with other people, allow me to, maybe network with somebody that knows somebody else. And that was a connection that I kept. I kept the business card in my wallet, or the phone number in my phone. And it just take all of those opportunities that are thrown your way, try to accomplish as much as you can. Internships, find a mentor. I was extremely close with one of my professors in grad school. Still to this day, we email back and forth and talk all the time. And just, it can be a lot to handle. So I would definitely say try to plan your schedule accordingly, but do as much as you can, because it will only be of a benefit, in the future.
Yeah, most certainly take advantage of those opportunities, developing those connections, having people to look up to. It only helps. And like, have you gotten used to that whole schedule of like working in the night? Are you used to it now?
I don't know that I'll ever be used to it, honestly, because it's always changing. There's days you can come in early. There's days now at the Olympics, we're not going on until midnight or later to do our newscast. So my newscast yesterday didn't end until just after 12:30. So it's kind of always changing. There are benefits though to working the night shift. You can, like, it's a beautiful day today. I'll probably go for a walk before I head into work. Um, but I would just say not to get comfortable in your shift if you are in the news industry, because it's constantly changing. So you have to be flexible, and you kind of have to adjust. So I think I get by. I do the best I can do. Hopefully I don't look tired, or people aren't like, oh man, she needs coffee or sleep or anything like that. But yeah, it's kind of, every day is different.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. It's like because I know, like for me, like I mean, I broadcast games at my school, but it's not at like 12 o'clock. It's not like
Right.
midnight. It's at a
Yeah.
reasonable time. But I'm curious, is there like anything you do like before you get on air, like anything you do to kind of get yourself pumped up and ready to anchor?
Yeah, I like to go for a walk every
That's
day
awesome.
before the newscast if I can. I have a dog, so get a little playtime in with him. But just, like you said, get energized, get focused.
Hmm.
I like to take a little me time as well, whether that's, maybe watching some news that's going on nationally, or even my local station on my phone, just give myself a little bit of me time away from doing everything else. So I think that's extremely important too, with the hustle and bustle and the constant workflow in this industry, it is really important to take a little bit of time for yourself and just do whatever you enjoy.
Yeah, and kind of like asking you another question based off that. Like, I know it definitely can be tough to balance your work schedule, but then also maintaining like a social and personal life. But what are some things that you've done that you found beneficial with that?
So family is extremely important to me. I am an only child, so I'm very close to my parents. And I find that when I am spending time with them, or whether it be with friends or even coworkers, I try to detach and, put the phone down, be present, be in the moment, because, you can't recreate those memories. And it goes by so quickly. I can't believe I've already been in the industry professionally going on like 5 years now. So it's just really important to be present, like I said, take time for yourself, put the phone down, just enjoy, life as it's happening.
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like everything nowadays, people think it's all about cell phones and like
Yep.
social media, but having
You want
that
to
face to
capture the moment.
face interaction, nothing beats it.
Exactly.
And nothing beats it for sure. So you have been in the news media industry now for a couple of years, like you just said. Like that's awesome. But how have you seen it change since you first entered it?
Yeah, so it's constantly changing every single day. Social media has such a presence now. Social media, it's a world that we've, as millennials kind of grown up in. It's always been
Mhm.
so prominent, but more now than ever, it's just accuracy is extremely important. And I think we've seen that play out, on the national stage the last couple of years, through the election, through the inauguration, through everything else going on in the world. So it's extremely important that when you are putting out that tweet, even though it's breaking news, you're trying to get it out there faster than your competitor, you are accurate, you don't have any mistakes, because you can't take that back. And that is something that will be attached to you moving forward. And you don't want your audience to question your credibility or where you get your sources from, or, how well informed you are to be even doing that job. So I think that's something I try to always be extremely careful of, because we're so quick to pick up the phone, tweet out a video, tweet out a link, but you have to look at the big picture of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong if you're getting ready to tweet something, just like proofreading it like 100 times just to make sure, nothing wrong with that at all. But like, what's your favorite social media platform to use? Is there any one that you would consider to be your go-to?
I love Instagram. I think it's just so versatile. There's so many things you can do with it. So whether it's putting up a story, I always try to have a little flow to my story. I also like to, just on a personal note, put out some inspiration every day for my audience. And I've gotten a lot of positive feedback about people saying, I really needed this today. That was nice of you to provide some words of wisdom. So I like Instagram because of all the features that there are. And I just think it's something that everybody's really connected to. People still use Twitter, but I would say it's more of one of the dying platforms, sadly. So Instagram kind of is just my go-to for everything.
Yeah, and Instagram is definitely great. And like with what you do now, like your position you hold, like you're able to tell all these stories. Like, how cool is that? Like, just to be able to inspire people and educate them by telling them these amazing stories.
It's truly so gratifying and fulfilling. I always just still look at myself as I'm just me. But to have people come up to you in the community and, hug you and say, thank you. You told the story about my nephew and his struggles and how he turned his life around, or my mom, my friend, anybody that, has a connection to somebody, that is why I do what I do, and why I started to do what I do, because making a difference in the community is truly what's important to me. So the fact that people will go out of their way to come up to me and tell me, thank me, send me cards, send me notes, that's what it's all about for me. So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's awesome. You really have the chance to make a difference in a lot of people's lives. I have to ask you, looking back, like on all the stories you've done, like what has been the most memorable story that you ever reported on?
So one of the most memorable stories is actually funny, because I mentioned the nonprofit organization that I'm part of. I was pretty new in my journalism career. I was still reporting weekend mornings, and it was a freezing winter day. And I was assigned a story about a nonprofit that was providing, a Christmas experience for a family in need. So they had the founder of the organization had a horse and carriage, was dressed up as Santa, was pulling the sleigh down a busy street in the area where we are, with gifts and making their way to the home of this family who had suffered, tragic losses recently, and giving them a Christmas experience, unloading the gifts, small gifts, big gifts, gifts from the community, and just seeing, how happy that made them, and to see that somebody cared about them. That was something that truly stuck with me. And that's the reason I got involved with that organization, because I saw what they did for the community. So without that story, I wouldn't even be sitting on the board for the organization that I'm part of. So that was something that has always stuck with me. And I'm happy it did, because, I'm doing something else that I love to do in my community as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, that sounds like a great story. I mean, you really can't get any better than that, being able to cover something like that. Yeah, it's definitely big. And like you being up in Boston, how is it like living up there, working there? Like, what is Boston like? How would you describe it?
So I'm about an hour from Boston. I'm
Okay.
in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Springfield is, the western part of the state, but
Uh-huh.
not too far from the eastern part of the state. But we do cover we have a State House reporter actually in Boston. So she
Very
works
cool.
inside the State House. So we do have that aspect of news as well. Um, but I was born and raised in New England, so it was kind of nice to be able to have my first job be in New England, talking about things that have always been important to me and my family. Um, it's definitely not a bad first gig at all. There's huge, even though I'm in a small community, there's big news that happens here. There's national headlines that are made here. I actually broke a national story a couple of years back from something that was happening in Springfield. So there is a lot of opportunity to really hit the ground running here in this market.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it one of like the up and coming like areas, I would say, definitely with the
Yeah.
whole like news media industry. So where do you see like the whole news media industry like taking off in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think that, um, like I said, social media has such a huge presence.
Mhm.
As a person in the industry, you sometimes wonder how much that's going to take over what I do. And I, have seen a lot of friends, people that I know just from the industry, have their positions and their duties cut in half, or completely just taken away, because social media plays such a huge role. So I kind of hope as a community that um, we just take a step back, and we're not so as involved, and so we don't rely so much on social media, but still, you know just appreciate the news and what goes into that. So for me as a journalist, that's something that I definitely worry about. A lot of people, say, "Oh, I didn't see that because I have my phone and I get my alerts to my phone, so I didn't sit down and I didn't watch, your hour and a half newscast." So I hope that we remember that facts are important, and you'll get more of those facts if you do have your traditional newscast. So that's just what I hope, I guess, moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. And like, what would you say are like some key qualities that makes a good anchor reporter in front of the camera?
I think having a connection with your community, being able to share similar interests, similar likes. If you live in an environment, and you're not out in your environment and exploring it and posting that on your social media, or doing stories on it, um, it's going to be hard for you to connect with your audience. So I think definitely being involved and immersed in where you live is extremely important. I think as well, just remembering that you are a public figure now, so like I said, I feel like I'm just myself a lot of the time, but I have to remember that what I'm doing, I'm constantly being watched. I'm having little kids look up to me. I talk to classes, I talk to students, and you have to make sure that those 10 seconds you're engaging in your audience, and maybe potentially changing somebody's life, and helping them find their path. So I think that just being aware and involved in your community is definitely a plus.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, nothing's better than being able to make a great impact on your community. It just makes a big difference. And it's something, honestly, we need a lot more right now, in the world. So is there anything that you wish you knew in college about the news media route that maybe you didn't learn until a little bit later?
I think, you always know the grind is is real, but just really knowing, I think if you're taking an internship, really sit down with an anchor, sit down with a reporter for more than your 4 hours that you maybe are there, or however, many hours your shift, however long that is. I think really follow them. Go out with them for breaking news. See, if they're staying late, if they're coming in early, what they're working on. Really, just the ins and outs of the industry to get a sense of it. Because a lot of people think, oh, you have a hair and makeup artist. That's not true. I do my own hair, my own makeup. You have wardrobe. That's not true. I buy my own clothes. Those are all important things to know before getting involved in the industry, because you could be getting involved or setting yourself up for something that is not actually what it appears to be.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. I mean, you never know what's going to come, so you just got to be prepared and take advantage of every opportunity you get. And like for you, what's the end goal? What are you hoping to achieve in the news media industry?
Oh, the end goal for me, it's always been my dream to have my own primetime show, national coverage. Just continuing to work hard for my dreams and my goals, and taking feedback is also extremely important. So I'm constantly asking, my friends who are watching, or my family that's watching, even my coworkers, my news director, provide feedback so that, your dreams do become a reality. So for me, just going to keep pushing until I get to the top, and yeah.
That's a fantastic dream. What would you call your show if you had your own show?
I don't have a name yet. It's still in the works,
Still
but
thinking about it.
yes.
It's all right. We'll get there one day for sure. All right, Ciara. Well, I want to go ahead and I want to end this interview asking you a couple rapid fire questions if you're up for it.
Sure.
All right, let's do it. First question: if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Any superpower, what would it be? I would say lightning speed.
Lightning
Because
speed. Yes, that's a good one. Great one, actually.
because time flies by in this industry, and if I could move, the speed of light, I would never have to worry about anything. Never enough time to get what you need to get done for your newscast. So that would definitely be my superpower.
That's fantastic. What's one food you can't live without?
One food I cannot live without is coffee a food? That's the one beverage I can't live without. The one food I can't live without, I'm a big fruits and veggies girl. I love my salads. I love my fruit salads. I think that's it's really important in this industry to take care of your health and take care of yourself,
Yeah,
because you are up late hours, you're up early, strenuous task and duties. So make sure, taking care of yourself. So my fruits and veggies for sure.
definitely. I love that answer. What's one city that you have not been to but you'd like to visit someday?
One city I've not been to, Chicago. That
Very
actually is on
cool.
my list of places to get to. Yep.
Nice. Is there anything in particular that you would like to do in Chicago?
I just
Just want to visit the city.
yeah, just wanna visit. Everybody that's posted about it has had a great time. Yeah, it just looks like a great place to experience. So
Yeah, that's fantastic. What's your favorite quote?
my favorite quote is from my organization. I found Light Against All Odds, the nonprofit that I was telling you about. And it is, I don't want to misquote it now. Our kids don't care what we know until they know that we care. That is my favorite quote, because as a young person, and when I was younger, you really don't care what adults have to say unless you can really connect with them. So I think that that's extremely important. It's something that I live by every day.
I love that. That's a fantastic quote. What was your favorite and least favorite subject in school growing up?
Favorite was always the arts and the communications classes. Least favorite, math. Never fair. Still not. Thank God for your phone and all your little handy dandy apps and calculators and stuff like that. But yeah, I've always been into the arts. Like I told you, I had a degree in dance as well. So
Mhm.
all the arts and communications for sure.
That's great. So, what would you be doing if you were not working in the news media industry? Would it be like dance or something around
I
those
think,
lines?
yeah, I would be in the arts. I
Okay.
taught for numerous years growing up, throughout college, even into grad school. So another one of my goals, hopefully I've, made the goal of becoming an anchor at a young age. So another goal that I'm really hoping to cross off my list is owning my own dance studio for inner city youth. That's something I'm extremely passionate about. Dance was always an outlet for me, and I know that it's so important for so many other people. Um, so that is definitely something that I'd be doing if I wasn't in the industry.
That's amazing. I love that. I think that would be something that would be really cool to have. Let's see here. A couple more for you. What's your favorite genre of music?
Favorite genre of music? So my mom is from the islands, so I actually love reggae. It's such a vibe,
Yeah, I feel that.
Mhm.
Definitely. What are your 3 favorite hobbies to do?
My 3 favorite hobbies, dancing for sure, spending time with my dog. He's pretty well known in the community actually because I post so much about him. So he gets shout outs all the time walking down the street and everything like that. And so I have dancing, I have my dog. I would say philanthropy also, being part of my organization and just giving back to the community.
I love that. That's awesome. And last question for you here. What's one fun fact a lot of people do not know about Ciara Speller?
One fun fact a lot of people do not know about me. My aunt, my mom's sister, was the first Miss Black Universe. So she was
Wow.
Trinidad and Tobago, and then she became the first Black Miss Universe. So that would be probably the best fun fact that I have for you.
That's a really cool fun fact. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, Ciara. Well, thank you so much again for coming on the podcast today. I really appreciate it. I mean, you've just done incredible things in the news media industry. Can't wait to see what you do. It seems like you've got a lot of great goals ahead, and I definitely see them coming true someday. So just keep up the great work.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, and continue what you're doing as well. Definitely a good role model for, aspiring students who want to do the same thing for you. So
of course, I appreciate that. Thank you again for coming on.
All right, fellas, so that was a sports student interview with Ciara Speller. Another big shout out to Ciara for coming on the podcast today. She was an absolutely amazing guest to have on today. So grateful I had the opportunity to interview her. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, make sure you guys leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so you do not miss a single new episode of a sports student interview. But that'll do it for today's podcast, and I will see you guys in my next one. All right, y'all, take care, sports students. Sort it out. Peace.